What is next for the Florida Panthers in this series? Well, we're going to find out today because, as it stands, I don't exactly have an answer to that question. We started off this season yet again on such a hot streak, but the month of February has been disastrous. It started off very poorly to the point where we said, you know what? Let's make some changes. Let's bring in the reinforcements. And ever since then, our luck still hasn't turned. Our lead in the division has evaporated. We are now behind Ottawa due to tiebreakers, and Boston, or Montreal for that matter, could easily jump us as well. And it raises the question over whether or not we made a mistake going out and getting additions. Should we have just left it the same? Did we make too many changes? And it's led me to having this roster, this lineup be what it is right now. Because as far as making any moves, no. We're not making any panic moves. We're sticking with the team that we built in the last episode, for better or for worse. So if we miss the playoffs, so be it. If we made too many changes, so be it. But this is the squad that we're going to go with right now. That top line's going to stay the same. Connolly's back on the second line, and now the third line is Hunt, Foligno, Gallagher, with Vetrano being bumped down to the fourth line alongside Achari and Harold Yuk. And again, that's the thing about this lineup, is that there is a lot of versatility, a lot of moves and options, combinations that we could go with, but this is what we're going to go with for now. Defensively, the top two pairings are great. Matheson continues to be disappointing. We'll see what he can do here over the last half of the season. And the bottom line is we need better goaltending, especially from Sergei Bobrovsky. If he's not going to perform, we're not going to win. It is that simple. He is here for 5 more years after this. He needs to get the job done, or we are screwed. Pretty damn straightforward. Again, moving forward with this team into the future, next season, probably, as soon as next season, Alexei Heponiemi is going to be in this top 6, which means you're looking at Foligno and Gallagher being gone, probably having a third line of Hunt, Vetrano, and Connolly. Maybe Howard Yuk takes a spot there. Still have Achari, Howard Yuk in the bottom 6, and maybe somebody else steps up as well. But the team is going to continue to get younger. That is absolutely a part of the plan. Maybe Logan Hutsko gets an opportunity. Looks to be a little bit more of a skill guy, though. He is a playmaker by default. So this team is going to continue to change over the next few seasons as we continue to try and get these younger players to develop. But for this season, we make the changes. We bring in Foligno. We bring in Gallagher. And now it's time to see whether or not that was the right call. Again, you factor in, too, our first-round pick was gone. We had Ottawa's. They're ahead of us. They're right here with us in the standings, so it wasn't going to be worth holding on to that pick anyway. But one win in our last 10 games. We need to see what this team's capable of. Hopefully we can snap what's been a terrible month here over the last 2 games, or over the last game of the month. We end up playing Calgary here to finish things up before moving into what's going to be a crucial month of March, as we do get a 5-3 win, which is great, but you see how busy this month is going to be. This is going to decide if we're going to be a playoff team or not. And I know, it might be a bit excessive to say we might not be a playoff team, but, Buffalo, 6 points back with a game at hand. They're currently, in a playoff spot. So 70 points for Toronto. You have Philadelphia at 72. It's not out of the realm of possibility, if we continued on that current pace, that we could miss the playoffs, or at the very least end up in a horrible situation in terms of who we're up against in the first round. Very well possible. Very, very well possible. So whether or not this ends up being a draft episode, or whether or not there ends up being some playing, a playoff series or not, I don't know. As Gallagher's complaining about his ice time, which isn't surprising, I'm just going to have to disagree, because he's going to be on the second line. It was only 4 games that we had him, or on the third line. It was 4 games that we had him on the second line, and it didn't quite work out. We end up losing to Dallas. What can we do against Philadelphia here? We lose to Philadelphia. This might be one of the worst collapses I've ever seen. We're back into a wild card spot. 76 points. Is the 8th seed right now. We are not safe. Toronto. We lose again. This is turning into a nightmare. Legitimately turning into a nightmare. Sergei Bobrovsky's in free fall right now. And this team is in a very, very bad way. That third line is not really gelling. The bottom six is getting ripped apart. But that third line's not gelling. The second line's not gelling as of late. And we have to make changes. And the easy change to make here is to go Foligno, Trocheck, Gallagher, and drop Borgstrom. Easy change to make, no doubt. And you know what? I might even drop Dryden Hunt. That technically would lose us the boost. That fourth line, though, is not exactly clicking right now since we made that change. I think that's the move to make. Those are the line combos we're going to go with here. And then defensively, that second pairing, which has been so good all season, is starting to struggle a bit. I really don't want to lose the plus, but we might have to. I think we have to. We're going to go Carpenter, Strawman, Matheson, Ekblad. And then again, goaltending-wise, for the love of God, Sergei Bobrovsky, please wake up. Or this is going to be a brutal offseason for us. We play the red-hot Habs and get shut out 4-0. We are in free fall right now. Absolute free fall, falling well behind the pace of the division leaders. We do beat Ottawa in a shootout, 4-3, for just our second win in our last 10 games. We are only 4 points clear, and they have a game at hand, of Buffalo. And in terms of being knocked out, it's 76 points for the Hurricanes and Islanders. We are not safe here. We're playing the Leafs. They're trying to battle back into the picture, and we beat them 6-1. That's a big win for us. Very big win. Now we play the Rangers midway through March, looking for our 40th win of the season. Gallagher is continuing to just shut up and play. Just shut up and play. Jesus, just shut up and play. We lose to the Rangers 3-0. 11 games left this season. 4 points above Buffalo. They have a game at hand. 77 points for the Leafs. 80 points for the Hurricanes. We are not safe. Not even close. Philadelphia, they're on a hot streak. And we beat them. We're a little bit safer now. Winnipeg on 44 wins. Not the easiest game in the world. We lose 3-0. We play a brutal Los Angeles team. This has to be a win. Has to be, and it is. So that moves us back up into the top 3 in the division. Game at hand right now. The Leafs on 83 points. We're still not safe. Not even close. The Leafs could knock us out. 8 games left. Vancouver, can we get the win? Yes, we can in a shootout. All right, we're starting to pick up momentum. 5-5 in our last 10. Detroit, brutal team. This needs to be a win. And it is. We play the Islanders. Decent team, on a good run of form, battling for their playoff lives. Second half of a back-to-back. We lose, but we do get a pity point in the shootout. That moves us up into second momentarily. We are now back behind Ottawa, but we do have a game at hand. We should be safe. We should be in the playoffs. At this rate, 5 games left. The Leafs only have 4 games left. We're good. It's not official because of the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes could ruin these plans easily, or Philadelphia for that matter. We'd really have to bomb from here. We beat Buffalo 6-2. It's still not official, but it might as well be. We're going to survive this. We are going to make the playoffs. 7 wins in our last 10. We play Washington. That's a win. Still doesn't secure a playoff spot, however, because everybody else continues to win. Will we be safe as of today? We're not. 3 games left. Second place in the Atlantic. Still, technically, not safe. The Hurricanes would have to win all of their games, I think, and we'd have to lose out from here. Let's see what happens. A win against the Caps would seal the deal. The Florida Panthers are playoff bound. Thank God. It's going to be the 2nd or 3rd seed in the Atlantic, which means we are playing the Ottawa Senators in the first round. Barring a weird turn of events and Boston somehow sneaks ahead, we're playing Ottawa in the first round. the Mackenzie Weegar Bowl. In the first round of the playoffs, we do lose to Detroit, and a loss against New Jersey would mean we're on the road in this series. A win, and we're good to go. Can we beat the Devils? We can, 7-4. So a second place finish in the division. We are hosting Ottawa in the first round. 47-win season, still viewed as a major disappointment because of the second half collapse. But again, 47 wins, 102 points. We would not have had the tiebreaker against Ottawa. Boston and Buffalo also make it. In the Metro of Washington, Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia making the playoffs. The Blue Jackets were terrible. In the Central, Colorado, Winnipeg, Dallas, Minnesota, and St. Louis make it. And in the Pacific, Vegas, Edmonton, and San Jose, LA, and Arizona were dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. So we were the fourth best team in the league. Not too bad, one of just 6 teams to finish with over 100 points. Goals for per game at a 3.3, which was up there. Second from the bottom. Goals against at a 2.85, though. That was the issue. That's mid-table. Our power play was up there. Top 6 in the league at 23.9%. Our penalty kill, though, at 79%. Mid-table, maybe slightly closer to the top, but still not exactly where you'd want it to be. In terms of player production, let's take a look here. Jonathan Huberdeau finishes behind the point pace of where we'd want him to be. Can't get over a point a game. 76 points is still respectable, but still not living up to his full potential. And I think what he's capable of with stats like that are attributes. Brendan Gallagher, 72 points, 38 goals. I mean, phenomenal as far as what he did once he arrived. 20 points in 23 games. Can't complain. Hell of a deadline pickup. Sasha Barkov, 34 goals this year, 71 points. Same as Vinny Trocheck. Again, I think Barkov in particular has a slightly higher ceiling. That is a phenomenal season for Trocheck as our second-line center. Nick Foligno finishes the year with 50 points. He had 10 points in 23 games. Not exactly ideal for him. Owen Tippett with 44 points, 42 for Connolly. Massive disappointment in terms of his season. Borgstrom with 39 points, 30 for Vetrano. 25, 25, 22, and 15 for Alexei Sarela. Defensively, Keith Yandel's a machine. Sergachev was tremendous. Ekblad and Strawman were solid. Matheson with 24 points, a little bit weaker defensively than what I'd want him to be. And the question mark, as always, heading into the playoffs. Sergei Bobrovsky. Only 2 shutouts on the year. We only had 3 shutouts all season long. That really shows the state of this team. Really does. Around the league, only a handful of players broke 100 points. Laine, Bergeron, and Kuznetsov. You see the other top names that are there. 54 goals for Alex Ovechkin, which was second best in the league. He and McDavid, the only players to break 50. Gallagher was up there. Defensively, the point leader was Yandel. He's going to win the Norris. No surprise there. There's a reason why we didn't get rid of him. Letang and Krug with 18 goals each as a defenseman. And then the winningest goaltender, Connor Hellebuck. Bobrovsky was third. Just goes to show how much the talent was able to overcome his subpar performance. I'm just trying to look at the shootouts here, man. 9 for Martin Jones. We had 3 all season. That's embarrassing. In terms of starters, I think Carey Price, perhaps Craig Anderson, maybe even Freddie Anderson won the Vezina. I think it's going to go to Carey. And for the rookies, we see Lucas Raymond in Detroit likely winning it. So a decent season for Owen Tippett, but unless they give it to Turcotte off of the 35 goals, it's going to Lucas Raymond. So again, we know who we're up against. It's Mackenzie Weegar and the Ottawa Senators. In terms of this team, it's a bit of a tough call. Gallagher did really well once he got here. Really well. I just don't know what to do. I really don't. Tippett, I mean, you could say Borgstrom did better than Foligno. Connolly was a disappointment. I do wonder. I mean, Vetrano, Foligno, Connolly. We tried that, did we not? Yeah, we did. And it wasn't that great. unfortunately. It really wasn't. Obviously, the team that we have right now was starting to turn it around. But I am legitimately worried about Foligno and Connolly. They just did not have the seasons that I wanted them to have. But I think we're going to leave this team as is. We're going to leave this team as is and see what can happen. Penalty kill-wise, I mean, we pretty much have the talent on the kill that we'd want there. So I can't be too upset about that. I think we're going to stick with it. We're going to stick with this team. We can make changes if we need to. Let's get the confirmation that we are playing the Sens. We already know it. There you go. Ottawa and Florida. It's a good thing that we moved that draft pick. It would have been a complete waste, especially when we're going up against them directly, and we are simming this series right here and right now. Brady Tkachuk, Colin White, and Chris Tierney at the top line. Second line of Bobby Ryan, Vladislav Nemesnikov, and Mikhail Bodker. Rudolph Balcers, Austin Zarnik, and Connor Brown. The third line, Drake Batherson, Philip Schlappick, and Artem Anisimov. The fourth line, there's a reason why we bet on this team being poor, so of course they weren't. Defensively, Thomas Chabot and Mackenzie Weegar, Eric Gustafsson, and Eric Brandstrom, Borowiecki, and Zeit said the third pairing. The goaltender is 85 overall, Corey Crawford. Healthy scratches of Mike Riley, J.G. Pajot, and Mark Pysyk. So, a couple of former Panthers on that team. We're the better team. Bottom line, we are the better team. They got here potentially through goaltending, through EA nonsense. Call it what you will. But there you go. We have the advantage. It's not a tremendous advantage on paper, but still, we have the advantage. It's just what happens from there. It really is. So with that, we're good. Let's do this. Round one. We are back in the playoffs. We fell 2 wins shy of the Stanley Cup last year. This year, though, with expectations, it's a whole different level of pressure. Let's see what happens. First period of game 1, and a damn good start. Brett Connolly on the power play, Nick Foligno, and Keith Yandel get the offense going. 2 players that we were looking for more out of. They start off well. Brady Tkachuk gets a goal to get them back in it. We more than doubled them up in shots. It's 3-1. As we go through the second, where it's a goal apiece. Another goal for Brady Tkachuk, this one on the power play. Howard York's able to get a goal back to restore the 2-goal lead. 28 shots to 15. Just keep Brady Tkachuk away from the puck, and we might just have a chance here. Let's see what happens. Third period, can we hold on? An insurance goal would be great. A strong outing from Bobrovsky would perhaps be better. Under 7 minutes left here. We're looking good, and Sasha Barkov seals the deal. We are going to take game 1 off the back of a strong first period. 3 unanswered goals to kick this game off, and we coast from there. Keith Yandel with a strong game. Trocheck and Tkachuk, second and third star of the game, respectively. Strong effort from Bobrovsky and a Game 1 victory for your Florida Panthers. Good way to start. Long way to go in this series, though. Yandel playing like a man possessed. Game 2. Let's get it underway. No lineup changes needed. Let's see what happens. Let's see how she goes. First period, advantage Cats. Another 3-goal output through the opening 20 minutes. Vetrano, Barkov, and Borgstrom. Everyone getting involved. 16 shots to 13, but we have been able to get to Corey Crawford. He was beaten from the outside twice. Vetrano and Borgstrom showing up. We go to the second period. It is scoreless. 29 shots to 22. Bobrovsky, I really don't want to jinx you, but you're doing incredibly well. And things are looking very good for the Panthers as Frankie Vetrano scores his second of the game. 4-0 Panthers. And so far, this has gone the way we would hope it would go when you look at these two teams on paper. Sergei Bobrovsky with a 39-save shutout in Game 2. That is the goalie that we're paying $10 million a season for. Big game for Vetrano and Connolly. the members of that third line. And that is a tremendous way to kick off a series with home ice advantage. 9-2 over the course of those 2 games. But this series is far from over. We've seen it so many times. We could easily lose the next 2 games, and in Game 5 is going to be huge. A win here, though, really puts the pressure on. No reason to make any lineup changes. We're just going to go for it. First period of Game 3, and for the first time we're shut down. Thomas Chabot has the lone goal, 8 shots apiece. Is that an indication of how this is going to go? Second period, Ottawa adds 2 more. Eric Brandstrom and Bobby Ryan. It's not looking too good. Rough game for Bobrovsky. Bobby Ryan scores again. This is what I was talking about. How easily the tides can turn, how easily things can change. Connolly gets a goal back, but it's too little too late. Power play chance here goes to waste. The Sens are going to take Game 3 by the score of 4-1. And just like that, this series is back on. Brady Tkachuk with a hat trick of assists. Bobby Ryan with a 2-goal effort. And what happens in Game 4? Who's to say? But the Sens are the favorites to win it. Just based off of how the sim engine works. They are the favorites here. It's Game 4. We lose this. Could be potential lineup changes. Let's see what happens. First period, gigantic advantage to the Sens. Gustafsson, Batherson, Tierney, both of those last 2 on the power play. Trocheck gets one back. Brandstrom scores on Francouz as Bobrovsky was pulled. 4-1, our only goal coming from center ice. 4-1 for the Sens at the end of the first period. 8 shots to 9. Sergei Bobrovsky falls apart on the road. And now here we are in a whole lot of trouble. Second period is scoreless. And barring a miracle, we're going to be tied at 2 games apiece. And I wish I could say I'm surprised. I'm not. Connor Brown makes it 5. Let's just quick sim. This one's over. 5-2 is your final. Howard gets a goal back. This series is tied at 2 games apiece. And it's why I wasn't overly excited after those first 2 games. We have seen it so many times. Win 2, lose 2 to start a series. It is so common in this game. So lineup-wise, we have a decision to make. Jonathan Huberdeau has been silent. Brendan Gallagher has not scored. That fourth line's been pretty quiet too. Noel Acciari has 10 friggin' penalty minutes already in this series. This is going to be extremely controversial. I do not care. Even if it's a fucking -1, I am super tempted. Brett Connolly, go figure, has actually been awake. Go figure that he has actually been awake. Howard with the 2 goals, 3 points for Trocheck. I think we go Vetrano, Barkov, and Connolly because they've actually scored goals. Shockingly enough. We could rework player types to get boosts, and I'm super tempted to do so. Who's the better center here between Hunt and Foligno? It's Foligno. 2 assists. 2 assists, and then again, Jonathan Huberdeau has been so damn quiet. That's a -2 on the fourth line because of Tippett. Well, we have a pretty damn big decision to make. The problem is Owen Tippett doesn't even necessarily deserve to be dropped. He really doesn't. You know, Noel Acciari hasn't been great, but all I can think is that this prevents a minus from going through. So as controversial as this may be, I'm going to roll with the players who have actually shown up in this series thus far. Those are the lines we're going with. Those are the lines we're going with. I'm sorry, but Jonathan Huberdeau having 1 assist through 4 games, kick rocks. Kick rocks. You're not going to get the job done. Take a seat. That third pairing needs to be split up. We're going to go Carpenter with Ekblad. Matheson with Strawman. Sergei Bobrovsky. Step up or sit the hell down. Sergei Bobrovsky loses this game. I don't know if he starts Game 6. Game 5. We're going back to the throw whatever the hell we can at the wall strategy. Because we have some underperforming players to an extreme extent. Let's see what happens. First period, scoreless for the very first time in this series. 10 shots to 7 in our favor, and it means absolutely nothing. Second period, advantage Ottawa. Connor Brown with the goal. 24 shots to 18. We're down by 1. We are struggling to score. And if we can't change that, we're going to lose our third straight game and be facing elimination in Game 6. Aaron Ekblad gets us on the board. Howard scores again. Batherson immediately ties it. It's 2-2. So Howard continues to be one of our top performers so far in this playoff series. As Vinny Trocheck scores, is it enough? Yes, it is. Out of nowhere. Vincent Trocheck with the goal that sees us steal a win. Bobrovsky did well, and ultimately we were just able to do enough. 3 goals in that third period to steal a win and move to within 1 game, 1 win of the second round for the second year in a row. Gigantic performance there from some of our key players. And I hate to say it, but I am losing faith in Sasha Barkov. I really am. We're going to move up. I don't know what we're going to do here because Connolly is still good enough to be on that. You know what? We're going to make that change. Trocheck's going up. Trocheck is going up. Everything else stays the same. You could say, hey, why make a change after a win? Why not? It's Game 6 in Ottawa. Sergei Bobrovsky shows up. We're on to round 2. Sergei doesn't show up. It's Game 7. First period, and we're tied at 2. Austin Czarnik gets the opening goal. Owen Tippett has his first ever Stanley Cup playoff goal. Gallagher made it 2. Balser scores less than a minute later. We are tied at 2. 11 shots to 6. But we are very much in this game. Second period, advantage Sens. Balsers and Czarnik. Oh, Bobrovsky. We go to the third. Barring a miracle comeback and considering our offense has been non-existent, we are going to Game 7. We have not been a road team in this series. 10 minutes left. Pajot ices it. 5-2 is your final. We are going to Game 7. A 5-point night for J.G. Pajot. And it comes down to this. It comes down to this. The winner moves on to play Boston in round 2. They upset the Habs. You'll love to see it. But it comes down to this. Do we have enough? Do we have enough? We are going to keep the team just like that. We're going to keep the team like that. Huberdeau, Barkov, Gallagher, Foligno, Trocheck, Connolly, Hunt, Borgstrom, Tippett, Petrano, Achari, Howard. Defensively, it's good. Petrovic obviously won't be in. We're going to run with Carpenter. We're going to roll with our best team possible and see if they can get it done. Pretty damn simple. Game 7. Will this team, who started off the year with such high hopes, crash and burn in the first round against the team who we thought was going to be bad enough that we let Mackenzie Weegar walk? First period, advantage Sens. Gallagher gets the opening goal on the power play. Bodker gets one back. Kachuk gives them the lead. 8 shots apiece. 2-1 on the board for Ottawa. Second period, we are tied at 3. Brady Tkachuk scores again. Harolyuk strikes. Yandel strikes. 25 shots to 16, but we are tied at 3 on the board, heading into the third period of Game 7. Here we go. Who's going to win it? What goaltender is going to show up and be the hero and save the day? Our offense is non-existent right now. We just weren't getting shots. Power play opportunity goes to waste. 6 minutes left. Power play for the Sens. Extended power play for the Sens goes to waste. It is overtime. We're jumping in. We're jumping in. It is overtime. Game 7. The next goal wins it for their team. Win, or in our case, stay home. Win or go home for Ottawa. Regardless, whoever wins this series has home ice advantage against Boston in the next round. The question is, will it be us? Can we get the job done? Can we make the most of this? Are we going to fail in a spectacular way? Yandel. Huberdeau shot. Great rebound. Couldn't take advantage of it. Yandel. Sergachev. One-timers blocked in front. Good chances early on, though. Sergachev closing in. Gustafsson. One-timer gets through. Sergachev is able to get the rebound and get it to Bobrovsky. Very, very dangerous. Foligno, Trocheck, Connolly, in theory, should be one hell of a line. Can Trocheck win the draw? No, we can't. Tkachuk throws it to Bobrovsky, who struggles for a second. He'll hold on to it. Second line be second line here. Come on, Vinny, we need a face-off one. Begging you here. He loses another one, but it does clear the zone. Gustafsson nearly turns it over. Brandstrom has it. Finds Bottker. Kale Bottker. To the point. Shot. Save Bobrovsky. And again, he'll be forced to hold. Having trouble getting offense here. Borgstrom takes the draw. He's been a winger for most of the season. Kenzie Wiga, the former Panther. Quick passing from the Sens. But not pulling the trigger. Nemesnikov. Shots off the post, and it's in! The Ottawa Senators, from 2-0 down, take the series in 7 on the road in overtime. This Panthers team just choked. The acquisitions that we made, and it meant nothing. We couldn't get out of our own zone, and Sergei Bobrovsky does that. The Sens are moving on, and we get to go to a very interesting off-season. It was deflected. Was that played with a high stick? I don't think it was. Wouldn't have mattered anyway. Off the body, off the post. And Tierney is able to sweep it in. A crazy deflection from Mikhail Bottker. That should have never fucking happened, but collision detection, you know, just impaling our young superstar defenseman to make it happen. The argument will be there that you shouldn't have jumped in. You knew better. And you're right, I did. Because our record in those games isn't necessarily great. We are bounced in the first round in very, very disappointing fashion. Because it sets up a very unknown future for this team moving forward. What the hell do we do with friggin' Bobrovsky? Absolutely abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. Defensively, Yandel was fine. Carpenter and Stralman were brutal. Absolutely brutal. Carpenter can be forgiven. Stralman, not so much. And then forward-wise, Connolly was our best player. And then Howard with 4 goals. Trocheck was okay. But you want more from Trocheck and Gallagher. Sasha Barkov disappeared. Barkov disappeared. Foligno, Huberdeau. But mainly Barkov and Huberdeau. The leaders of this team disappeared. Would that have been the case had we not messed with the team chemistry? I don't know. But what's done is done. We were bounced in the first round. And next year, we stick with the plan. Period. We stick with the plan. Forward-wise, we already know. It's Barkov, Huberdeau, Trocheck, Tippett, Borgstrom, and Heponiemi in the top 6. From there, we'll figure it out. Connolly will be demoted down to the 3rd line. Foligno and Gallagher are gone. I know both are willing to stay, but I'm not having it, especially not Foligno. Gallagher, I'm willing to let him go. Yeah, I mean, he's looking for like 6.5. That's a good deal for him, but just no. He doesn't have a spot in this top 6. He doesn't. Maybe Alexei Sorella gets another opportunity, but Heponiemi makes the step up. Maybe even Grigory Denisenko. Tough to say. He might push for a spot. And again, there's some other guys here where we'll see what the hell they do. Maybe Jonathan Ong may be able to push for a spot. We really do need some better role players. Saron Noel. It'd be great if he would develop. He'd do well in the bottom 6 until he continues to improve. But we fell short again. Last year took a hell of a lot longer for us to reach this point. But now here we are. And we'll see what happens as we move forward through a very uncertain future. I thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, you know the deal. Support the video, support the channel, drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Check out everything in the description. And a shout out to my patrons over on Patreon. I love you guys. Again, that Patreon exclusive franchise mode series will be starting up probably either this weekend or by the end of it. I will see you all next time. Ottawa wins in 7.